Hi, I'm Ellen Gibson with the Beef Innovations Group, which is funded by the Beef Checkoff. The new chuck roll cutting guide video that you're about to see has resulted from years of work following the muscle profiling study. Since that study, meat scientists and marketers have worked together to add value to beef that is being underutilized. The goals of the video are to introduce you to the chuck roll and present these exciting new cuts. And in addition to this video, you can download materials, cutting guides, and culinary application sheets from our website, beefinnovationsgroup.com. Now, let's get you introduced to those new cuts.
Hello, I'm Carrie Underly, representing the Beef Innovations Group, funded by the Beef Checkoff. This cutting demonstration will show you how to generate value-added cuts from the chuck roll. With applications for both retail and food service, these new cuts will provide your customers with a great beef eating experience. Now let's get started. First of all, let's orient ourselves with where we are at on the animal. The chuck is located between the neck and the rib, separated between the 5th and 6th rib. The chuck is also separated from the brisket plate. The chuck is then separated in today's popular subprimals, the 116A, the beef chuck roll, and the 114, the beef chuck shoulder clod. During this demonstration, we'll spend our time learning about today's more friendly 116A beef chuck roll. During the course of this video, there are two key terms you need to be familiar with: anterior and posterior. Anterior means towards the front of the animal, and posterior means towards the back. We have here the chuck roll. This is towards the neck, and this is towards the rib. Now, as we've mentioned before, the chuck is separated between the neck and the 5th and 6th rib. On this side of the chuck is the ribeye. We also have another important identifying characteristic on the chuck roll. If you notice here, this muscle right here, called a rhomboideus, is the hump of the animal. The chuck roll is known for its amazing beef flavor, and in fact, according to the muscle profiling study, some of the most tender muscles are found in the chuck. Now we'll need to separate this into two unique subprimals: the 116D beef chuck eye roll, which is going to be this top portion, and it's going to run all the way back towards the neck. Once we remove that, we will expose the 116E, which is the underblade portion that rests underneath the shoulder blade on the chuck. Let's start by adding value to the chuck roll. The first step is to separate the chuck eye roll from the underblade. Now, if you notice here, we have the chuck eye face, or the chuck eye steak. There's a heavy, thick seam fat that runs all the way down the chuck eye. What we're going to do is we're going to follow that seam and carefully remove it. We recommend starting with the serratus ventralis muscle located in the underblade. Easily identified, it's a large single muscle. The first step is to go ahead and follow this fat seam line right here. Now this is going to go all the way back. And what we're going to do is we're going to carefully separate and pull this backwards. So we're going to start our knife, just a nice slow stroke, and just work that knife in the fat seam. We're just going to keep pulling. So we're going to continue following this seam all the way back. You can give a little pull, and you'll see how that's going to separate. Follow this all the way around, and just follow this seam back. Nice pull. Careful not to nick the internal surface of the eye. Okay? See how that's pulling open? There's also a muscle on the underblade that we're going to expose by doing this, and we like to call it the Sierra cut, which is actually the splenius muscle. We're going to learn more about that Sierra cut in a minute, but we're going to continue just following that seam and pulling the eye off of the underblade. Now we have two unique subprimals. The 116D beef chuck eye roll, which is best known for its amazing beef flavor, and we also have the 116E, the beef chuck underblade. And a nice fact about the underblade is it actually contains the fourth most tender muscle in the beef animal, the serratus ventralis.